are three ways to uncover wisdom. One is through learning, through contemplation. When you learn, you contemplate about it, and you practice to reinforce and to give substance to your learning. Learning alone will only give you knowledge. You have to see the true nature in order to arrive at wisdom. So what can we do with wisdom? I think that's more of an interesting question than just to have wisdom, because okay, well, you have wisdom, but what are you going to do with it? Well, several things we can do with wisdom. One is wisdom allows us to know, because knowledge, to know what? To know it all, to know everything, to know everyone. So the question is it possible to know everything in the universe? The answer is yes, but that all-knowing knowledge has qualifications. And what is that qualification? Well, qualification of all-knowing knowledge is unlimited loving kindness towards everyone and everything. Compassion, loving kindness, sympathy are the grounds for enlightenment. This is very interesting here to note that the sole absolute value is compassion or loving kindness. Even wisdom is only a means for the realization of the supreme end. So we study Buddhism, try to achieve enlightenment, but really the purpose is to strengthen, to make our compassion, loving kindness absolute, so that we can help other people. Because achieving enlightenment for our own is not the end, but the end here is loving kindness and compassion. So then we should ask ourselves, what is it that prevents us from understanding everything and everyone, what they're thinking? If we lack the ability to understand other people's thoughts, it may be a good thing for us for the time being, because if we can see other people's thoughts and we don't have loving kindness and compassion, then it can lead to negative mindset, afflictions. We will see negative things about people and we will not be able to control our own afflictions. So if we lack the ability to know, it is because we lack one fundamental qualification, and that is loving kindness. Unlimited loving kindness will qualify a person to have unlimited knowledge. If we have loving kindness, then we really pay attention to those around us, and we pay attention to the grass that we walk on that we destroy. We so carelessly pluck a flower without ever thinking how it will destroy the beauty of that environment because we feel like it or we think it's fun to do so. So when we do that, we are being careless, or we are not attentive to a person who may feel neglected next to us, and we may not have any regards for their feelings. And because of that, we don't understand them. And because of that we don't have, you can say, acute level of loving kindness. So when we have loving kindness towards the new universe, then we are qualified to know about the universe. When we have loving kindness towards people, then we are qualified to know about them. One example to help us understand this is from the Sutra, 大涅槃经, 跟大涅槃. The Buddha was towards the end of his career, his life, and he was about to enter nirvana. And Ananda, his personal attendant, knew that the Buddha was going to enter nirvana in a matter of days or even hours. So he stood there trying to realize what was going on, and he was weeping bitterly, and he said to himself, "The Master is about to pass away from me, he who is so kind." These words, "he who is so kind," are of the greatest significance in Buddhism. Ananda spent 20 years serving the Buddha as his personal attendant. He must have heard the Buddha deliver hundreds of discourses, witness all kinds of mystical teachings, or even abstruse, difficult, and very philosophical teachings. And he witnessed the Buddha answer thousands of questions, brilliant answers, and he was very approachable. And all the supernormal happenings around the Buddha. So he witnessed a lot during the 20 years of his serving the Buddha. Of all those wonderful qualities that the Buddha displayed that Ananda witnessed, one thing that stood out in his mind at the end of the Buddha's career was the Buddha's kindness. So Ananda summed up all of his experience with the Buddha with these few words, "He who is so kind." The Buddha at the end was really his compassion that stood out to Ananda. his closest personal attendant, who witnessed day and night of the happenings. He was there every step of the way, wherever possible. So he was closest to the Buddha, but at the end of the day, he summed up what he experienced. What the Buddha could offer the world was his compassion, loving kindness. And the Buddha knew it all, but at the end, the basis of that was he who is so kind. The Buddha's loving kindness, Buddha's compassion was what allowed the Buddha to be who he was. When we have loving kindness, we are qualified to understand what is it that we have loving kindness towards. We have loving kindness towards the universe, then we are qualified to understand the universe. If we have loving kindness towards friends and family, then we are qualified to understand them. And it's very natural for us to understand those who we care about. Not emotionally attached, but because you have this interest of caring about them that allows you to understand them, right? Have you ever experienced that? That when you pay more attention to somebody, you're more attentive to them, you seem to know more about them than before that you had any caring about them. That caring allows you to pay more attention, and with the interest of helping them, then that allows you to develop the insight about them. So to know everything about people, for example, but without loving kindness, without compassion, we will end up focusing only on their mistakes and their faults. Because as human beings, nobody is perfect, and we are likely to have faults. People are going to have faults. There are things that go on in people's minds that we don't understand. But if we can see their minds, see their thoughts, we would be horrified, and we would feel with afflictions, worries, anxieties, jealousies. Why are they thinking about me like that? As opposed to, why are they complimenting me? Oh, I must be good. So those things will just cause arrogance and doubts and all kinds of afflictions. At the end, it will only hurt us. And maybe that's why nature is not allowing us to know other people's thoughts, because we have not matured to a level of understanding them. But as we progress and we start to understand people more, like true caring for them, then we start to understand them more and more, right? Without them speaking, we understand what they're thinking, what they want.